Hello and great evening, great Monday evening once again, everyone. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. This is another episode of our awesome podcast, another snippet of what we do with Chosen Pen Publishing. Thanks to our visionary, Dr. Norma McLaughlin. As usual, she is here with us today, and we also have another fabulous guest joining us. Today, we're going to talk about choosing to forgive, particularly, or I should say specifically, the forgiveness retreat. Now, we've talked about that at the onset of these podcasts, and we talked about how Chosen Pen Publishing, in conjunction with Chosen to Soar, host a forgiveness retreat every fall in the Smoky Mountains, right? So we have some space available for everybody who might be interested to join us. Now, there are only a few spots. And so in light of that, we wanted to share a little information about the retreat, the vision behind the retreat, and allow you to meet someone who has participated and obviously is anxiously awaiting an opportunity to participate again. So, Lady Norma, if you would go ahead and greet our guests, and we'll get started with this interview.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to It's Free to Choose Forgiveness talk show. I'm so excited to be here tonight because this, of course, one of my most, honored events that we have with Chosen Pen, which is our Free to Choose and the event that we have in the Smoky Mountains, which is our forgiveness retreat. The retreat is something that came about because we needed something that's a little more intimate in the way of helping people to overcome or to move out of that spot to that they're in there of unforgiveness. We realize that it takes more than a conference. It takes more than a one-time coaching event for that person to move from where they are. So we have the event that we called the Forgiveness Retreat. It's over a 3-day, almost 3.5-day event. And we work very diligently with our people, our participants, to help them find that bitter root, to find out where it is or what it is that's causing them to stay stuck in that space that they are, and not to live a life of freedom, the freedom that God promises us that we can have within the abundant life. Oftentimes, people don't even realize that they're stuck and that they're not living a life of freedom until we have a conversation and they realize that, hey, I really am not, until we find out, and they don't know why. And usually we dig really, really deep. We have a lot of exercises that we do in order to enhance that process. And as I say, I'm very excited because, people call me the forgiveness person now. So it is my biggest thing, because we know that without forgiveness, there's no seeing the other side of heaven, that God died on the cross for us for forgiveness, that he has already forgiven us of all of our sins, and that we need to understand that as Christ followers, that we need to practice and the forgiveness process in everything that we do. And the more we practice it, the easier it is for us to forgive.
Thank you so much, Dr. Norma. One of the things I know as a result of this campaign, in addition to being connected with you, is that you always emphasize two things: is that forgiveness is a process, and it's also a gift that you give yourself. And so you told me about the history of things, starting with a Bible study, and then of course it evolved into this retreat. And of course, we know this campaign is going on right now, which has led to this podcast. We've got the gala coming up on July the 29th. There's just a whole lot of juiciness packed into this forgiveness campaign. And so today, because we chose to emphasize the retreat, we really want to also, in emphasizing it, reiterate the fact that this is a time of intimacy. You and Coach Colette Horrell actually work together in conjunction with coaching through serving as coaches, I should say, to those who are in attendance. I know Miss Colette has emphasized that we always have a cook on staff at the cabin. The food is included. It's an all-inclusive experience with the Smoky Mountains as the backdrop. So it's a time of socializing. It's a time of connecting with others, but it's also a time of creating or initiating or even completing the process of forgiveness. And so Miss Nicole Smith here, all the way from Fayetteville, North Carolina, it's been told to me that she was an attendee in the past. And so we wanted someone who had participated, who knows firsthand what this retreat is like, so she can paint the picture from her vantage point. So Miss Nicole, we appreciate your time today. Tell us a little bit about why you chose to go, what the experience was like for you, and why you would encourage others to take a part of this project.
Well, First of all, thank you so much for having me. One of the reasons why I did do it, I really didn't feel like I had any issues. And that probably was the biggest issue, that I couldn't see it. And sometimes you can become numb to something and just kind of begin to, instead of living, you're just existing. And so I heard about it, and I had been, doing some of First Lady's Bibles, her workbooks and her Bible studies. And so when I went, I didn't know what to expect, but it was amazing. I don't really know where to begin, but I do know that I realized when I got there some deeper issues. I realized some deeper things that I had to deal with after kind of doing some soul searching, and it makes you very vulnerable. It makes you realize how much bondage you're in when you're really thinking you're free. And so the experience, just specifically, I want to say, first of all, the workshops. Um, I don't even know where to begin with that, because it's all very personal. And I think the biggest thing that helped me to be more open was the smallness of the groups, the intimacy, not 20, 30, 40, 50 people, but just enough people to where you felt comfortable, you felt vulnerable enough. But also hearing other people's stuff was like, wow, and then, it makes you look more at what you did. I don't even know where to begin, because I like the activities we did as well. So specifically, depending on what you're wanting me to say specifically.
Well, don't tell everything now.
Yeah. So I will say this: the workbooks is what really sticks with you. I love going to First Ladies retreats, because it is not work, 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 and work, 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 and it is time to relax. It's time to sit back and to look at the work that you've done. Whatever you've done that first session, then you've got a couple of hours to go over it, to write some stuff, to journal some stuff. You're allowing some things to just kind of ruminate in there. And so but the biggest thing that really, really got me, that probably made me more freer than anything, was the activities. There were several activities, but the main one that got me, and I don't know if I should say it, because I don't know if we're going to do it again.
Never know.
Okay, so we had to pick some rocks, and we had to actually write the things that we needed to forgive. And so whether it was for yourself or whether it was for somebody else or whatever it was, and you could get up to 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 rocks, however many rocks. There was a little pouch that was handmade, that was made out of fabric, and you put those rocks you put them in the bag, and you tied it around your arm. And from that moment until the end of the retreat, you carried that. I mean, you didn't take it off for anything. I mean, take a shower, but you didn't take it off for anything. It was tied to you, which was such a picturing thing for me, to where, you can't just put this stuff down and act like it doesn't exist. Right. But you're thinking about it, because your whole point is, I got to get rid of these rocks. How do I get rid of these rocks? I've got to deal with it, because I can't just take them out and act like it doesn't exist. And so I remember we were getting ready to eat, and my first inkling was take it off, because I got to eat. And I don't know if it was Tracy or somebody said, no, you can't take it off. You can't take it off. I'm like, oh man, you sleep with it. I mean, it was something that you carried with you the entire retreat, and it got heavy. And not physically heavy, but it got mentally heavy, on my mind, and so I had to make a decision, not just, okay, I forgive, but what am I going to do? What am I going to implement? And so going back to the worksheets, going back to the workbooks, what is it? What's the first step? What do I need to do in this? And what do I need to do? And so, of course, the Word of God clears you and gives you that path to go. But I remember when it was time to get rid of them, and you may not get rid of all of them. You may carry one, or but I was determined I was going to leave with no rocks. I was going to leave, but I knew that when I left the mountains, I was coming back to the real world, and I had to make sure that this is
That's
what I
good.
needed to do.
That's good.
So having said that,
That's
a couple years
good.
passed, and if we do that again, I got some more rocks.
Well, it's been a few years.
Well,
They're different,
and that's okay.
and
That's okay, because as we live our lives,
Mhm.
there are going to be other instances and situations that happen that we will need to forgive.
That's
That
correct.
Lady Norma teaches us that that's just reality. But the thing is, I think I've heard her say that once you learn the process of forgiving, the next time it's time to forgive, you can go through the process much quicker because you've been exposed to it and you understand the freedom that you gained from
Yes.
before. You don't want that weight.
It
Nicole, we
is.
don't want you walking around with rocks on your wrist all the time, right?
No. And I will tell you this, it makes you think even before. Sometimes you don't necessarily have to get in a situation to where you have to forgive. Deal with it before you even get to the point where
That's
now
true.
I got to forgive this person. No, just don't even do what you have to do. So that won't be something now I got to go back and redo it. No,
Right.
it kind of gives you a thought to where you think about them rocks. But at the same time, you're mindful, although it was a physical connotation, it was also very, very mental and emotional. And
Exactly.
so I enjoyed it so much. My sister has moved down here from Raleigh and bought a house, and we have gotten very close. And so I asked her, I'm like, I feel like this would really help you too.
That's
She said,
good.
okay, give me the prices and all of this. And
Great.
sometimes people are hesitant to go because many people don't want to be vulnerable. Many people don't want to be open. Many people say, I don't know you.
Right.
Or,
Right.
it's another thing that really got me, and I'm gonna stop at that, was the piece where we were prayed for individually in a prayer room, that God worked so mightily to where, I mean, nobody, when they walked out that room, came out with no
That's,
tears.
that's wow.
Everybody had tears, because part of it was tears of joy. Part of it was tears of the burden that God knew that He was wanting you to carry, because, there are things that we can give to God. This particular one we have to carry, and we have to get rid of it because there's work we have to do.
Yeah,
And
that's good.
so it was like, wow.
That's good.
Okay. So now, after you leave that prayer room, you feel accountable because now God is holding you accountable. You've done A, B, and C. Now, the work now is, what are you going to do about it to make sure?
That's good.
It was amazing. It was fun, meeting the new people. I still stay in touch with everybody.
That's excellent. That's excellent.
I still stay in touch with them. And how's this going? How's that? I mean, they don't live in North Carolina, but that's the great part. And I'm hoping and praying that even for my sister, that will be something that she will encounter. She doesn't know the Lord Jesus. And I know that this is an opportunity, because if she said yes to this, her heart is open.
It's an open
to
door.
learn more.
Exactly.
And so I look forward to that, because I know that it's not just for people who know the Lord, and this is for
everybody
to be free.
Exactly.
Of that, because that's really a step in that direction, because we know it's the Holy Spirit that is doing the work. But God is calling us to be responsible for that, because it's not a good feeling to be bound.
Right.
But when
That's
you
good.
are free, oh my gosh, it's like eating a piece of steak that somebody cooked. It's the best piece that you've ever had. You don't go back to something that's worse. You don't
That's good.
Not intentionally.
Right. Not intentionally. Right.
I mean, and
Nicole,
you don't
I
want
love
to.
it.
So when you
Right. I
do
love
finally taste a piece of steak that didn't taste like the one that was the best, you be like, oh, that's all right.
That's artificial. Yeah, I
But
deserve
I've
so
got
much
to
more.
find
Right.
the one who made the other one,
Right.
And
I
it's the
love it.
same thing with our relationship with God. When we get this forgiveness piece, I'm excited, because there are some pieces and some things that have happened, and I've been in different seasons since then, that I know that I'm excited about watching God work and how he's going to do it. That's exciting to me.
That's really good. So this is what I heard you say. I heard you say there's intimacy. I heard you say that it's a community. It's a community experience, but it's also an individual experience that no one leaves as they came. Okay. You talked about the message of forgiveness being conveyed because the importance of it is applicable to varied aspects of our lives. The analogy you gave is the way it messes with you physically, which is part of what Dr. Norma has been talking about, physically, emotionally, mentally, relationally. And so forgiveness, while we know that the concept as believers, we know that the concept or the whole practice or the whole, it really is really a commandment, right? To forgive.
Definitely. That's what I'm saying.
It's
either you do it or you don't.
Right. It's a principle that's applicable to everybody, no matter their walk of life. So Nicole, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being nah, 10 being, oh my goodness, yes. We've got about 4 spaces filled. For anyone who might be watching this on a scale of 1 to 10, what would be how would you rate their attending? Would you say 1 or 10?
Well, it would have to be a 10. If I could go beyond that, I would, but I want to be obedient. And you only gave me the 10. But it's a 10.
Okay.
Even, I don't even think about the price because it's priceless.
Worth the value. Right.
It's just really
worth the investment.
To come back with that type of freedom just makes
freedom
you want to go back.
Gift. It's a gift you give yourself. Freedom is a gift you give yourself, and you cannot put a price on what freedom is valued at. Depends on how free do you want to be. Let me give the dates of the retreat. It's going to be September 8th through the 12th. It's going to be Oak Haven Resort, which is in the Smoky Mountains. Of course, if you're interested, you can pay it includes food, lodging, the view, your workshops, all of that is included. All you've got to do is reach out to Chosen Pen to get more information. We'll have the information on the Facebook page. Of course, the flyer is posted there. I believe we have 4 places or 4 spots remaining. If not, Coach Colette will correct us immediately, but we only have a few spots. Lady Norma, that's the end of our segment. Any last words that you want to offer to everyone before we go?
No, but I just want to say just one quick thing, because we never talk about our books and our work that we do, why some of these things actually take place. But we know that when we write books, that your book is not where it stops. That we have other things that come from our books, and the retreat is one of those. An offshoot of your book is your conferences, is your retreats, is your courses, and all of those things about forgiveness is an offshoot of my book that I wrote about forgiveness. So for those of you who are writers or who are planning to write books and you want to know what are the streams of income that comes from your book, these are some of the streams that developed from the writing of our books.
Right. Thank you
and
so
I forget
much.
to say that. I get so involved in all the others.
No, that's fine. That sounds good. That sounds good. Well, that's it today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so very much for joining us. Remember, we'll be hosting a series of conversations every Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern. This month, we've talked with therapists. We've had a participant or attendee of the retreat. On next month, we have got more therapists, a life coach, I believe. We even have a pastor. We're going to continue our conversation about how forgiveness or unforgiveness has a major effect on our lives, whether it be physically, emotionally, relationally, or
spiritually,
mentally. So thanks again for hanging out with us. We so appreciate your participation. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Be sure to join us next Monday night, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have a wonderful Monday evening.